What's up, Curious Collective? I'm Indigo, and welcome back to Tales and Tangents, the place where every story leaves something behind: a lesson, a question, a laugh, a warning, sometimes all four. Today's story is going to be about astral travel. It's a topic I absolutely love and I'm super excited about, so let's get into it. So, this story is on a topic that is dear to my heart. I love astral travel. I love alternate realities. I love, what do they call it? Time travel or just like time lapse. I love that type of stuff. So, I'm super excited about today's story. All right, so let's go. It's called I Left My Body Every Night for a Year. Here is what I saw. All right. So I want to start by telling you what I am not. Don't they always? They have to give us, people have to start the story with the basis. I get it. Just, I get it. So I'm going to start by telling you what I am not. I'm not a spiritual person in the traditional sense. I don't belong to a religion. I don't read tarot cards. I have never been to a psychic. I am a nurse. 12 years in emergency care, which means I have spent the better part of my adult life in a profession where observable, repeatable fact is the only currency that matters. Okay, yes, evidence-based. I am telling you this because what I'm about to describe sounds like exactly the kind of thing a practical, evidence-minded person would dismiss. I know this because for the first few weeks it happened to me, I dismissed it myself. Then I started writing it down, and the details accumulated into something I could no longer dismiss, something that had changed what I believe is possible inside a human life. All right, so this is how it started. It began after a shift, a very long shift, 14 hours, and a busy A&E department. The kind where you don't sit down and eat. You just eat standing up at 11 p.m., standing over a table or a desk. I came home exhausted in the specific way that emergency room nursing exhausts you. Not just physically, but in the part of you that processes human distress. I just fell asleep in 4 minutes. Sidebar, shout out to all the nurses out there. We love you. We appreciate you. That is a hard job. You carry a heavy lift. The nurses are heroes. They do a lot of work. And, shout out to you. All right, so I woke up, or something that felt like waking up, while it was still dark. I was completely alert, which was unusual given the depth of sleep that I have fallen into. Like I fell in such a deep sleep and then wake up like completely alert. And then I noticed that I wasn't in my bed. I was above it. Not far above it, perhaps 4 or 5 feet. I was looking down at my own sleeping body with a clarity that I cannot describe as anything other than ordinary, except that it was entirely impossible. I could see the specific way my hair was spread across the pillow. I could see the pattern of the duvet. I could see my own face, relaxed and peaceful, breathing slowly. I felt no fear. This is the thing I found most difficult to explain to people, because I should have been terrified waking up and looking down and seeing me. It was not at all. It felt, and I'm aware of how this sounds, like returning to something I already knew. So, the year of leaving, because this happened for a year. This happened to her for over a year. It happened 47 times over the following year. I kept a log because I am a nurse and I keep logs. And Each entry includes the time, the duration, as best as I could estimate it, the location I visited, and what I observed. Wow, that's amazing. Girl, you are good. I don't know if I would be able to have the coordination to log my crazy or my exciting experiences, my dark experiences. So, early experiences were limited to my immediate environment, my home, the street outside, once the hospital where I worked. I drifted through the ward at what I believed to be around 3 a.m. and noted a patient in Bay 4 whose position concerned me. When I arrived from my shift the following morning, that patient had been moved to a high dependency overnight after a deterioration. I'm not claiming I predicted this. I'm recording that I observed it from a position I could not in any physical sense have occupied. So she knew it. Like when she woke up, she went to work the next day and she checked, and it was like, yeah, sure enough, that night the patient had deteriorated and is now, being monitored. Wow. As the months continued, the experiences became more expansive. I found that intention held clearly functioned as a kind of navigation. If I thought of a specific place with sufficient focus, I moved toward it. If I visited the city I grew up in, I stood in the garden of my childhood home and I observed the new homeowner's modifications and detail that I later confirmed from a street view photograph. I visited my brother's home and observed him watching television in his living room at approximately 1 a.m. He was wearing a specific unusual combination of clothing. Like he had on his work shirt with his pajama pants and he was just wearing one sock. So I called him the next morning and described it to him without any context, just like, oh, is this what you were wearing? He was silent for a long moment and then asked me how I knew. I didn't have an answer that he found satisfying. He was just like, yeah, you weird. Like, call me with all that in the morning. So, the cord and the boundary. The cord is something referenced extensively in literature on out-of-body experiences. A silver or luminous thread connecting the projected consciousness to the physical body. I was skeptical of this. It sounded mythological. Then I felt it for the first time on my 8th experience, and I understood immediately what every account was describing. So it clicked. It's like, she heard of this stuff in these, accounts of people's out-of-body experiences, and on her 8th time, it was like, it clicked. It registered. It is not a physical sensation exactly, more like an awareness of a tether, a directional pull, faint but consistent, orienting you back toward the body in a way a compass needle orients towards north. When I moved far from my physical location, the pull became stronger, not painful, but just compelling. On my 31st experience, I encountered something I have not read about in any of the accounts I found since. A boundary, not a wall, not a barrier in a physical sense, more like a threshold, a place where the quality of space changed in a way I felt rather than I could see. So like the atmosphere, the vibe changed. I stopped there instinctively. On the other side of it, there was something. Presences is like the closest word, though it's inadequate, that were aware of me. Not threatening, but not welcoming me forward either. I have been to that boundary 8 more times, but have not crossed it. I'm not sure what it would mean to cross it, and I'm not sure the cord even reaches that far. The experiences stopped approximately 3 months ago, abruptly, without diminishing, simply present one night and then absent the next. I don't know why. I have tried the same conditions, the same state of exhaustion, the same intentions before sleep. Nothing. I have not gone back to the boundary. I'm not sure whether to be relieved or disappointed about that. What I carry from the year is this: I am more certain than I was before that consciousness is not a product of the physical body in the way we tend to assume. That something in us is capable of operating beyond the frame we are given. That the world is layered in ways we don't have the instruments to measure yet. I am still a nurse. I still believe in observable, repeatable evidence. I have not changed who I am. I have expanded what I think who I am actually is. For 47 times, I left my body and came back. 47 times, the cord held. Whatever is on the other side of that boundary was patient enough to let me go. I think about that more than I expected to. That's the end of the story, y'all. That's a good style. That was good. I like that story. It was very interesting because this is someone who has a very structured mind, a very structured way of thinking. They go based on things that can be physically proven. Okay, she's not a spiritual person at all. So for her to have this, these experiences over a year, I think it's a gift. It was a gift, and obviously she took to that gift because it actually changed her. It didn't change her, but it definitely expanded her mind. And as she said, now she changed who she believed she thought she was. Now she knows that she's more than what she just thought. They don't know what to do with that, but that is beautiful in itself, because there are people who try for years and years, maybe even a lifetime, to have these types of experience, to have out of body experiences, or astral project, or whatever. There are people who try to do that for a very long time. They study, they practice techniques, and it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And for it to just randomly start to happen to her, I think it's a gift. I also think I have an idea of why, but it ain't, because, she tried the same circumstances again. I was going to say perhaps, so people, like I said, people study this stuff and they try it. And people often try to, on their way drifting to sleep, they try to, gain awareness in the delta state. And that's that state right in between, drifting off and slight awareness. That is a state where, you can kind of speak directly to the subconscious. Like it's open, but the conscious is not completely down yet. So in that state, that's often where people who practice this and they try techniques, that's where they try to become aware and, project out of their bodies. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes they become aware and just wake back up. It doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes it just happens naturally. I think that's cool. People that do that, definitely reach out to me and share me some stories. I would love that. Yeah, send some stories to me if there's people that do that kind of thing. But I don't. I'm not that advanced. But I do have pretty cool ass dreams and experiences at night when I am asleep. And if you do, consider it a gift. That's all I'm saying. Consider it a gift. If you can't figure out what's going on, you don't have to investigate. Just enjoy it. Hopefully it ain't scary. And if you're scared, fear nothing. Don't fear anything. It's your mind. It's your world. Run that shit, okay? But that was such a good story. Like I said, I love astral travel and, those types of mind things, out of body experience. I love them. Paranormal, I love that. I could go on and on and on about it. So, I hope you like the story. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know about your own experiences like such, because we love to hear that. And if you have a story that you would like to share on the channel, check in the description for my email and send me your stories, okay? I'll see you guys on the next tangent. Peace out.